Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Lamb Chop Racing Series number 4. We're doing handicap racing out on the Zwift. The D and the C categories have gotten out onto the course already. Joining me, coming all the way from the Lansdowne, there's going to be Pat Shaw. Pat, so for those of the viewers that are out there, let them know exactly what they're looking at when it comes to handicap racing, because we might have some new viewers, as well as what's going on with this Lamb Chop situation. And then we can jump right into the racing.
Yeah, well, handicap racing is pretty simple, really. It just gives everybody an equal playing field. So regardless of your level, you've got a chance to win. So we have off first our D graders, then C grade and A grade, and there's a gap between all four grades. And effectively, if the handicaps are good, then we should see them all come together in the final kilometres. Not often we see that on Innisbrook Ring, though, because it is the shorter of all of the race circuits that we do. However, it's probably the most difficult also.
Yeah, we do have the leg snapper out there for all 3 laps. We are jumping in with the C category, who tends to have one of the, they're all super consistent. They're all super awesome. But Crystal's somebody we definitely celebrate week in and week out. And now we have E. Compson out here, though. We'd have a change-up, though. Is that right? C's, we want to ride and wide and round. So it does look like there's a little bit of a change-up in the C grade this week here. But there's 156, though. 156. That is a lot of riders out here today jumping into the C grade. They do look like they're holding a pretty solid pace, but a little bit of corralling going on here. And let's speak to a little bit of why that's important. I am seeing Carly Taylor actually jumping in with them here. And, you know, whether or not these riders stick together and work together in a team time trial-like situation really is dependent on whether or not they're going to be able to win the race for their category.
Oh, 100%, particularly with these larger fields that we're seeing in the Black Sheep Lamb Chop series. I was joking before we started, in the bar Black Sheep, we could do many, many wools as much as we like. But if we haven't got anybody to do the work at the front, Nathan, it's not going to work. And with 112 riders in D grade as well, we see an evenly strong spread across all 4 grades tonight, with almost 500 registered riders for tonight's race. And often I think that we find that although the Innisbrook Ring course is most difficult, it's not the riders enjoy the most, because they really do require the help of their teammates more than ever.
This is true. This definitely is true. I mean, the reality is going over the top of the leg snapper can make it extremely difficult on some of the riders out there who are trying to hang on to the pace being set at the front. And whether or not they are working together to hold on to a little bit extra energy in the pack is super important with that leg snapper each and every lap. So it does make things, you know, very pretty teamwork like out there amongst the categories. So now if you do want to jump into the broadcast, we do have social media out here, and we are watching Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, as well as Facebook. Eugene Chan coming in here with a quick little comment. We love the comments. Bring them in. We'll try and answer all of your questions as much as possible. So what's the viewing platform of choice for ZCL? We do have a website now. You can watch on any of the platforms that does have live streaming, as we are live on Mixer, Twitch, as well as YouTube and Facebook. But go ahead and jump on any of those, and we will be bringing in. But ZwiftCommunityLive.com, for those of you that do not know, also houses the live streaming as well. So if you do want to jump on over to ZwiftCommunityLive.com and just use that as a tab, that is the Twitch feed for those of you who are wondering where the chat is coming from over there. So good day to Pete Donahue, Tim Searle, good to see you. Crystal's away, and awesome Emily Compson jumping in to lead the C's. Absolutely, and good to see Emily. She's doing a great job saying blobtastic here, as they are sticking together fairly well with 62 riders, as you can see in one of our main feeds right now. The D category is out on course. They're about to hit up the leg snapper in just a moment here. We'll be jumping in with them in just a second, as the A category, though, is just getting out on course. I was seeing a ton of riders into this A category. This is one of the larger groups, actually, I think, amongst the A categories. I think I saw up to 70 perhaps riders in the category for the A's. C-Ball, one of the riders I'm always watching out for that does tend to do a lot of work on the front. We're seeing, it looks like Baba Yaga here out of Australia. Francis in the D category, though, just at the top there. Psychopath, though, we're seeing Jay Riley as well. Zach Johnson, rider that you've talked a lot about, Pat, is jumping out there. So a lot of talent today in the A category, Pat.
Yeah, certainly. And lucky enough to get back on the live stream for the National Road Series in Australia on Sunday. Father's Day as well for all those dads around the globe. Happy Father's Day, but happy Father's Day. It's a proud moment for all of us. But yeah, it was great to see this thing back in full swing, my favourite circuit. So it's good to see some of those riders also now lining up tonight, getting back in the swing of things. We also have state championships on this weekend as well in my account. So looking forward to seeing that racing too. But there's some really incoming young riders that find themselves in even the B category. So keep an eye out for a few of those young Taswegian riders. I know Wes would be very happy that the cycling down there, the culture is so strong at the moment, and they keep creating such strong young riders. We talk about ride leaders. Another ride leader that's been in it for so long is Tony Bagshaw. He's the ride leader at D grade tonight, Nathan, and they're really moving along quite well. Still 90 in their front group, and good messages coming through as they descend for the first time the other side of the leg snapper, and messages coming through from Tony Bagshaw to keep it together as a group. So the group will be the huge to whether you can win tonight, because you're going to need numbers, particularly that one down to the finish line.
The last time we were out on this course, actually, we saw that the B category was the one that took the win. It came right down to the line. They've really done a good job with HDR, the chop, and the lamb chop series here, getting this course specifically down with the timings. And B category, I believe, was won outright with Sterney, Jason Sterney, coming from Dirt and Indoor Specialist team. The last time I believe we were out here for the chop on this course. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out this week, because it was every category last time we were out here finished within, I believe, about 30 seconds of each other. So it was a very well played race by all of the riders.
Yeah, it was only 8. Really knew that they weren't going to have a chance, but Sterney really line grabbed, is what we call it. Line grabbed C grade, and I think B grade might have finished the first 2 positions, but then it was C grade and B grade stagger out the rest of the top. So that's the type of result you want to see in a handicap race. Even if A grade was to win, in real life handicap racing, often you would see a C grader or a B grader infiltrate that top 10. And normally they're actually the rider that we'll talk about. So it's not actually the winner. They go, oh, how about David or Jill? They were 7th or 6th, and they're actually off like C grade. That's an amazing result. So not always is handicap racing about talking about the absolute elite. It's about the rider that has ridden above themselves, particularly when an A grade rider wins a kind of handicap event. If you can see some lower grades have got in there and infiltrated the top 10, it's a remarkable effort. So although it's not in the plan for any of the Ds to be caught by the Cs, the Bs, or Bs, the As tonight, certainly if they do, and one of those in the lower grades can hold on and infiltrate that top 10, is, just as I said, a remarkable effort.
100%, and it does look like the A grade is on a rampage already here. Just hammering away here. 3.2 kilometers finished within 4 minutes now. 164 beats per minute coming from Devlin here from Innovation, sitting in. Doesn't look like at the front end of this group, though. We are seeing quite a few attacks perhaps taken on, as we do see Psychopath here, VZT, as well as Jack Johnson sitting right on his wheel. Strung out a little bit here in this A category, so I have a feeling that they are definitely pushing the pace. We did see a couple of the riders up and out of the saddle momentarily. Jay Riley there, Innovation, making his way to the front. And let's chat a little bit about these kits. You know, a lot of times during the commentary and the racing, we like to say play-by-play and talk about what kits are here. Now, these riders are all in the same kit, though. A lot of times it's like this team, that team. Oh, check out the team in the blue. But here, they're all in somewhat of a, what are we going to call this color? Is this a light pink, slightly red, almost peach color? Guava. There we go. Guava color. So loving it. So these are exclusive kits for this Lamb Chop series, Pat. And it's pretty cool what they've put together with Zwift here.
Yeah, I think Zwift as a whole does a really good job of the kits and that you can do with your avatar. But you know, Black Sheep, they're with the custom clothing. They're the leaders in the market. So I really like the palettes they've put out there tonight. I think D-Grade's in a very light blue colour. We've got this salmon-y guava look, but I really like it in the AHDR Chop series. We all pair individual grade up in the same jersey, and it's really cool look when A grade catches B potentially later on. We'll see those two groups, and you see that difference in the color. You can get that sky high look, bird eye view of you can see the staggered grades within one another. It really gives a good description of just who's where going. So I like the jerseys per grade. It's like the team events, but just a much bigger team.
Yeah, I absolutely love to see them all in the same kit. It's nice to identify with the each of the packs as well as they do make their way around the course here. We're going to be just seeing if we can jump in with the B grade in just a moment here, as I believe the B grade did jump over the top of the leg snapper a moment ago. I am looking at 113th place right now in my feeds here of the B grade, but I believe that this is the back end of the B grade after the leg snapper, and this goes to show how incredibly difficult this World Championship course on Innsbruck from last year is. Speaking of World Championship course, we just did get the word coming from Eurobike that Yorkshire is going to be released here, so pretty cool to see that Zwift continues on with the World Championship course replication in the virtual worlds, and it'd be cool to see how it is used over the next few weeks before World Championships and the different kind of events that will be happening there. Right now we're looking at last year's course here with Innsbruck, and that leg snapper each lap seems to be really putting some damage into the legs here. Currently looking at looks to be 84th place. B category here, Pat, not exactly sticking together. It looks like it's been a tough day already for a lot of the riders. I'm already seeing out of 132, this is 85th place, and this isn't even the main group. So B grade on a rampage toward the front, but maybe going to be suffering a little bit for the drop-offs here. Now seeing an arrow power up here from one of the riders here, trying to get to the front of this course here. Push it up, recover once you catch. Jay Magavero here looking to try and bring things back together for this category.
Yes, but if this is the cutting to use aero power up, dangerous situation for the group, and also it would probably, without assuming, but you would, that someone is pushing much higher wattage than probably the category should, because there shouldn't really be that many drop-offs, but still a strong group, and I guess that's the real pleasure of having a LAMP series. You've got such a big group, you can afford to cull hard and go a bit rogue, but at the moment, still plenty of riders there. It's only with front, say, 2 or 3. It's going to be very hard group of 50, 60, maybe even up to 100, as we've seen in the front 2 grades, D grade already tonight.
Yeah, and it does look like the B category here, they've got the A's already chasing them down pretty good here. A category, if we do swap real quick for the views here, we will be able to see the A category. This section that they are on here, as Psychopath and Baba Yaga are the front, Zach Johnson's running the wheel, 6.3 watts per kilogram or so as they come through that sprint section. So 433 watts in the front here, absolutely pushing the pace right now. And they're just around the corner already. But B category here, as we do look over at the lap banner they're coming through, it looks like they are starting to catch a few of the C's already. So things really coming back together pretty quickly here amongst them. But the C category from my other feeds, so those are C's that have fallen off. If I look through here for Compson's group here, as I do see G High here as well as Stritz, it looks like Compson there, the ride leader for this C category. As we do look down at the beacon there, there's certain a little ways in as I do look at the geography, if we can get a good scope here of where they're at. They're already in the downtown here, so they do have a little bit of a gap over that B category that's looking to chase them down. We'll see if we can find the D's out on course. I believe they're going to be heading most likely into the they're going to be heading into the leg snapper here in just a moment. See if we can bring up the live gaps as well. I do believe that they are enabled for us this week. So for the live gaps here, there they are. And according to what we've got here pulled from zippower.com, 5:22 coming in for the 522 currently coming in for the A category. They got quite a ways to make up here. B category 244 up to the D's, 130 to the C's. So only 130 here, a lap and a half to go. They've closed down quite a, like the C category is flying this week, Pat.
Yeah, they are, but I think A grade still sitting at a very good margin. You've got to remember, A grade's only just really got out on the circuit. D grade are approaching their second ascent of the leg snapper. So I don't know. It's looking like A grade could still catch front tonight, but certainly C grade out on the right foot at the moment. They're going really well. It's difficult sometimes because A grade just has such potency and such power, and particularly on this call up the leg snapper, they can bring back such a margin in just such a short amount of time. We always like to see these front groups working really well together, but this A grade group, look at this, constantly over 400 watts. This is a really, really strong ride by Psychopath. Love the name too, so a big shout out to Psychopath. But putting it around 400 as they go under the banner there.
Yeah, we were seeing a little bit of a shout out there coming from the ride leader. Anytime on the front, 6 watts per kilogram or higher. Do you want to speak a little bit to the difference there? I mean, there is a reality that each category is going to have an over threshold effort that they're going to need to have at the front. This isn't about riding at your FTP on the front. This is about riding over FTP and then sitting in, because Zwift does have drafting in the game. So go ahead over for A grade 6.0. For some of these other grades, maybe something more like a closer to 4 watts per kilogram or so. They're all going to have a different pushing pace at the front.
Yeah, and I think that, and particularly if you're riding tonight or you're watching and you want to try and become part of the Chop series or any of the Zwift racing down the track, I think that you can infiltrate this into your training regime. And it doesn't mean you have to do it 4 nights a week. And in fact, an over-under session is generally not too bad to recover from. So just take your FTP and add 10% and subtract 10%. And when you subtract the 10%, that can be your under. And when you add 10%, that can be your over. For simple sake, if you want to do 15% over and under, you can do that too. But the more that you're going over and under, the shorter the effort should be. So definitely use it, because it's a very, very good way to get race fitness. And so it's basically the old school effort recovery was what it was known as. And now it's been simplified a little bit as over and under. And I use it quite a lot with my riders, particularly in the build-up process. If they haven't done a lot of racing early in the season, we use it just to get a little bit of race fitness, but not over-fatigue the body too much.
Looking through some of the comments coming here, as we do see Jay Ja take his over of his at the front end of the A category here. Wesman coming in from Australia saying, loving the hairstyle and Pat. Thanks for the comment. Love the comment there. You'd see what else is coming in through here. Go Emily here coming in from Mel Ketchel. A lot of shout outs to Emily for leading the category here. Tim Searle from AHDR actually coming in and saying Crystal away. And awesome Emily Thompson jumping in to lead the C category. Kyle Parker, we'll hope to see you next week, as he says he's devastated to miss tonight's race. And Tim Searle giving us a little correction there, letting us know that the color is salmon, just so everybody is
of course
clear.
It is. Of course it is, Tim.
Is loving the comments there. And a couple more coming through. Wendy Mae Abbott, yes, Pat is with us tonight. She asked a little earlier and says a big hi to Pat. So thanks for everybody jumping into the comments. Keep them coming over on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, and we will go ahead and bring the comments right on in. We love to interact with the community as you guys do watch your broadcast of your race, or if you're just tuning in as a viewer, we love to answer any questions as well. Backing into the race here with the B category, as they're heading back on over toward the leg snapper. It does look like they're getting chased down fairly quickly, or they may just passed by a few of the riders behind them there that were a catch for the C category. But toward the front here, it does look like it's going to be Crawford here from race 3R leading the pack at 162 beats per minute. The ride leader there, Magavero, seems to be doing a really good job for AHDR here to be pushing the pace. Ride leader is so important in these races here, keeping things together. And one of the cool features for those of you who might be wondering, what is that beacon on screen? That's essentially when you enter an event and somebody volunteers to be a ride leader, they get that beacon so that you kind of know where you should be around. So essentially, they need to be holding the right pace for what the group needs to be able to do. And maybe in the last, I don't know, last time over the leg snapper, there may be a little bit of a releasing of the hounds, though, to say, okay, if you can't hold on, the beacon might let it go. But essentially, everybody has that beacon though, to be watching here. Now, it does look like we have a catch here for some of the D category riders. I don't think it's the official lead in the D categories. This is 59th place, but B category doing a good job this week as they are starting already to catch a whole lot of the riders. With a lot of feather power-ups being popped here to lighten up these avatars as they come flying on through. B category might have a chance here. We've got under a lap and a half to go. One more lap. I mean, it's one this second time over the leg snapper. We're going to be do one more after this. And the gap here, Pat, as we're looking 3:54. They still have a solid almost 2.5 minutes back to A's. They're catching the C's pretty quickly. D's, I think, are caught almost here. 49 seconds between the C's and the D's. B category, they seem to be almost favored on this course as they won last time.
Yeah, well, they're using their power-ups so efficiently. I mean, I haven't seen such great use of the power-ups in quite a while. How many feather power-ups were being used there? And if you didn't have a feather power-up, you had a draft power-up and you're using that. So that is really good. And you touched on the beacon. Yes, the beacon's like that central control unit for the riders early in the piece, but certainly we have seen in past weeks the beacon release the hounds, as you alluded to, in the final. Doesn't want to hold them back, but generally the beacon will still come to the front, the ride leader, and offer some good work to help the group out. I did want to touch on something interesting from last weekend, real life event at the National Road Series, Nathan, and that was the riders that we have seen on Zwift over the 8-10 weeks of winter, and particularly the events that we've streamed, were some of the strongest riders and definitely the biggest animators of the race on Sunday. So it was interesting to see, and I had so many other riders coming out to me and going, how do you think I should get involved with Zwift? Which trainer should I buy? And it was just interesting to see the sort of changing of the guard a little bit. Now, so many people using Zwift and smart trainers to help their training, particularly wetter months.
Yeah, and we were chatting a little bit right before the broadcast as we were getting set up, and some of the technology that's coming out now as we're looking at Eurobike and some of the releases there. Little shout out to GP Llama as he's putting out content from afar as he was unable to make over the pond. Do you guys call it over the pond? What do you call your travel to Europe? A little bit different. We call it over the pond.
No, it's not over the pond for us. It's called over the globe. It's called over the globe. It's like it's about as far as we can go before we start coming back, Nathan.
So unable to make it as a congratulations to him on the little llama coming into the world. But we did see some cool updates coming from him recently, so make sure to check out GP Llama's latest on the updates from Eurobike's releases, as a lot of the technology, if you're looking to get involved in Zwift, is just absolutely amazing. The abilities to get the resistance, feel the ups and downs, have the changing gradients. I mean, some really cool things. Get the wind in the face even as a part of the whole experience. So a lot of cool setups that we're seeing being released, as well as some cool releases from Zwift. So if you haven't checked out some of the latest there that has been coming out, we'll have some sneak peeks as well as some stuff here on Zwift Community Live as well. So make sure to hit the follow buttons here, and you guys will be getting some of the updates from what is being released at Eurobike this week, actually. So be on the lookout for that, for some posts all around. But as you do say, man, lots and lots of people, as you said, changing of the guard as we do see this amazing platform bringing people together from all over the world to battle it out here, specifically in this handicap racing here for the Lamb Chop Series. We're in the race number 4, Innsbruck course. 1 lap to go here. A category, C category, B category. They're all separated, it looks like 50 seconds still between the C's and the D's. 1:10 between B and D there. So it looks like the B category just about to make the catch here as they're just on the 20 seconds, it looks like, here between them and the C's. So that catch looks like it's being made. In the A category are just around the corner, really kind of getting a little bit strung out as they're starting to taste a little bit of blood in the water, it looks like here, and know that the riders are just ahead as we continue to see craziness here coming from Psychopath here as he's on the front with Richards holding on to the wheel. Fuller there, Pater here coming out of the Netherlands, and Baba Yaga there. But this has been splintered. Look at this. Beat and Beat from Oliver Real Food Racing in Real Life Pro hanging on here, it looks like. Stretton, U17 there. Looks Stratton here, WP Taz. Is that a rider that you know of in development here? Holding solid 263 at 162, Pat.
Yeah, Dalton. Yes, I've been talking with his parents about this young man. He's quite a really talented young rider, and one that we should keep our eyes on for the future, I think. And I was talking about these young riders out of Tasmania that have just got such talent. And you know, when I was younger and racing, particularly as a junior, come across a young Matt Goss and come across a young Sulzberger and even Bernard Sulzberger, Wes's brother. You know, there was a lot of young riders coming out of Tasmania. It's sort of off a little bit, but they're certainly back with a vengeance, and they dominate the junior scene around Australia. And Dalton is one of those riders. He's really, really strong in his junior category, and he's certainly one to be watching for in the future.
Yeah, we do see as we are watching Dalton here making his way toward the front here, take a little bit of a pull. 4 watts per kilogram as he's looking to make sure he hangs on toward that beacon. The beacon's been absolutely hammered toward the front, but they're within about a K or so, it looks like, of the lead group right now. 17.1 kilometers for the A's. Not lead group, excuse me. On that, between the B group and the A group at this point, as we do see on the live gaps there, 17.3, 18.3. They're kind of tracking evenly there. It's less than 10 seconds between that B category and the C category as the catch is being made. Now, as the catch is being made, C category is starting to splinter a little bit as some of the riders are like, look, it's time to drop things off here. Not everybody is able to hang on any longer. And is there a name for that? Because there's there's this catch that you have names for, but is there a name for the urgency that the riders who have a little bit extra energy left in the legs, that they're like, all right, forget it, I'm going. You guys can't hold the pace any longer. I'm about to get eaten up here.
Yeah, it's called ego, and it's called antisocial. And we've all, one of the races has some form of ego. It just comes out in front of everyone, or it's well hidden. And certainly at some point, you've got to cut the cord. You can no longer keep the ties with the group. And so then it's time for the antisocial behavior. And the antisocial behavior can sometimes result in a victory, but often it doesn't, unfortunately. So you've got to try and stick together with each other, motivated. But everyone's got to have a common want to survive to the end. And at this point of the race, this is where it starts to really sting the legs. And from behind, A-grade, they're throwing everything out of the car. They're trying to lighten the way things going out. Gels are being consumed. And they are really pushing the penny to catch this C-grade and D-grade leading groups.
Look at this. This is a great shot, actually. The beacon in the background there has been, it looks like, been dropped off. The C's that are trying to survive now, catching some of the D's. There's the B category, right, literally, the black kids chasing down the gray kids there, right behind them. Now we can look at both perspectives as the B category looks to make the catch here. Here is that C category looking over the top. Then here comes the, now the ride leader here, Margavero here, as they do look to make the catch there. And so some great shots here that we're getting of the catch here between the B's and the C's as they look to make this a race just between them and the D category as you look over the shoulder still. But the C's here that are still holding on, really just fighting for it here. They're not giving in. The gap really hasn't changed. I mean, look at the distance. It just continues to kind of hang out here at this 9 seconds or so. Leg snapper, though, going to be coming into view here in just a moment, and I have a feeling that's when it's going to be said and done for B's to the C category as they head along this straight over the river now. Speaking of, though, the D category only a little ways up from this C category, so they're about to be caught as well, and this is all coming together now as we go back into the view from the C's. Just ahead, there are the light blue kits, almost turquoise kits, just ahead here. and that is the D category, about to be caught officially too as well. But the A's is going to be the question. They've got the largest time gap still to make up as all of the other categories come together at 131. Quite a distance to make up here. The leg snapper, though, is the place. They're going to have to come screaming over the top of that leg snapper and hold on to consistency of power. It's going to have to be all about continuance and holding on to just crazy wattage, I think, with speed over the top there, Pat.
Yeah, it certainly is. But it's every week's the same on this course for A grade, that they are the group that over the maintains the power all the way to the finish. And often them catch about 30 seconds from the top. So they've got to get around a minute from this point to the top of the leg snapper. I think this is going to be one of the closest finishes we've ever seen. Potentially, we're going to see all 4 grades finishing together. But it just depends on what B grade does when they finally make the catch. As we're now seeing C grade catch onto the back of those light blue jerseys. And now B grade. What a beautiful picture this is, as all 3 colours come together, the blue, turquoise, whichever colour you want to call it, probably baby blue, I'm not sure, and the black jerseys have all intertwined. And this I was talking about, the overhead shot of the 3 different coloured jerseys, the 3 different groups. And handicap race, Nathan, they come together, they got the leg snapper, can A grade involved as well.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see, but at 105 here, between the A grade and these 3 grades that just came together, C, D, and B, all together now, because you can see on the live time gaps, and it's only 106 is the difference here at this point. Less than a kilometer makes a difference between this A category, but look at how splintered A category is. There's not many riders left in here. I mean, Feetenby here, Oliver's Real Food Racing at the back here, I believe sitting in like 10th, 11th position, maybe a little more than that, 12th, maybe 15th, but everybody's put in so much work here amongst them, and are they going to be able to hold the kind of speeds that are needed to close this down? This has essentially been a 26-minute everything you got to hang on to the just incessant pace here of this A category to try and make this close. They have so much time they have to close up here, and at 101, I think this might come right down to the line here. What an amazing shot, though, as you said earlier. They're seeing all of those jerseys come together between those 3 categories. Now it's up to the A's, but there's a lot of firepower now into that C, D, and B categories. They're all together. That's a lot of riders able to push the pace. And just like in real life, Zwift, with the other riders all working together, just a few extra bodies can push that momentum forward, Pat.
It's going to be about how hard up the leg snapper, and if they really spread apart as a group and are also trying to hit their maximum power and maximum effort, go over the top. And often we find with the group front, what they do is they take the feet off the gas, they pull down the other side of the hill, and they're going to lose considerable pace and considerable A grade if they do so. So they've got to go over the top, maintain that down the descent, and then onto the false flat. And I think that's probably the hardest part on this course, is the false flat after you get down the descent. And often the riders are really fatigued and they're struggling and they're counting down the meters to the finish line. A grade won't be doing that. A grade will be driving the pedal strokes. They'll stay motivated because they have one goal and one goal only, and that's to catch every rider from every other grade.
Yeah, 100%. There's not going to be any resting up. These guys might start looking at each other, and here is the winner of last time we were out here. Sterney from Dirt did get up early today, it looks like, coming out of the US of A, actually. And will it be a sprint again for Sterney? Is he going to have a second time at this here? He's, he had a solid sprint to the line in that B category, but here comes A category as they hit the leg snapper. The kind of watts per kilogram that we're seeing from them driving the pace here. Feetenby there trying to hang on to the front. McAuliffe here, 206 beats per minute. McAuliffe is absolutely demolishing himself to try and get this gap closed. Stretton there, Dalton, as you spoke about, 112 RPM here, spinning to win at 185 beats per minute. JJ, Feetenby, 185. All these boys are just head down. Hopefully the fans are on and getting some cooling here, because this is heating up to close things down. They can see it almost here, but it's just around the corner, the lead group there. It's 49 seconds, but can the A category category have the kick and the speed. They've really got to work together now, though, because it can't be a group of 4 doing it. It has to be somewhere between, I would think, 8 and 10, all taking their turns and really sacrificing for each other at this point. It's not all about one rider. It's really about the group in this A category now.
They are working well, though. They've gone up the leg snapper incredibly hard. They've gone over the top and come back together. 206 beats per minute, not holding anything back. All in, and they continue to push, but the power has to be higher. We see it rise now, over 300 watts. They're going to have to drive it all the way to the line. But anyone in this group have it left? That's going to be the major question.
Yeah, we are seeing Crawford here now, as you do see Jay Clay now, as well as I believe Crawford is in here as well toward the front, pushing. That was Jay Clay's perspective now. Now we got Crawford's perspective here toward the front as well. It looks like Link's there as well, making his way to the front, and it's a solid 4 to 3.8 toward the front end of this group as they round the corner there on the right now. Here's the A category now. They're just going to be coming through that sprint banner right here. I mean, it's like 500 meters maybe or so, but it's like so much but so little here. The pace might not be high enough. I mean, 46 kilometers per hour we're seeing from one. It's 30 miles per hour on one here. Let's see if I got some Ks here on one of the perspectives. And it does look like 48 kilometers per hour from one of the perspectives I'm looking at here. And that is the B category hammering away. Then we're seeing 50 kilometers per hour. So it's only 2 or 3 kilometers per hour difference here. I'm not sure that's going to be enough. And I think the B category have done their work. They've done their homework today. And we're gonna jump in here with Fraser from Park Life. That's gonna be our look here to see who's gonna take this down. I believe in this B categories. I think it's just a little bit too much for the A's to make this happen.
Yeah, well, they're going to drive all the way to the line, though, and that's what's going to make it close. B grade starts to stall the pace a little bit at a kilometre to go to get them some good slipstream full finish, and it also determine who's got the aero power. You utilize an aero power up at the right time, particularly if riders go long in the A grade. They could get on the back grade, but already starting to see moves made.
Yeah, here we go. A, B category now, making the way to the front. Glover's going. Mike Guevara there was leading things out, but it's going to be Glover here, hammering away with the drafting power up. 185 beats per minute here coming from Glover. Rayo here coming from, it looks like KOR there out of Australia there. Sturny, though, the winner last time. It looks like he's got an aero power up. Can he hold on to the power? Rouge trying to go with it here, but Sturny continues on, driving the pace, but Shelton, no, there's a kick from Cycle House. Harvey to the line, and Cycle House, it looks like, crosses with a solid last-second kick, and that's really what it's all about when it comes to these sprints. What an amazing effort there. Now back in quickly with the A category, though, before we finish things up here and look back at the replay as they look to try and take down their win amongst themselves. Here comes C-Ball, 16 watts per kilogram. C-Ball just with a crazy kick and a drafting power up over 1,000 watts now as he looks to take down this sprint just amongst the A's. Solid result as they pass through some of the C's in the D category. Just behind them is going to be Huckslag there out of Germany, followed by Jaja out of Norway. Solid results all around, but B category, again, Sturny almost pulled it off again there, Pat, but unable to do so as we take a look at the results. And Tom Shelton, is that a name that's familiar? I feel like that's a little bit of a familiar name. Perhaps I thought I heard Shelton in the past. Maybe it's just from some of the racing, but Tom Shelton followed up by Dong Jae Roo, and then Jason Sturny, the winner last time there. B category seems to be Aaron Dunn, WP Taz, jumping into the B's there. Andrew McCosker then it's going to be Lachlan Stevens, John Link, Ian Glover, Darren Reed, and Mark Leiss, all B's. This seems to be their course, Pat.
Yeah, and a very strong performance. And Tom Shelton, not one on the top of my tongue at the minute, only one I've written down. Each week, I write names down after this series, and after the SRAM Send It series, I was doing the same. And I'm telling Ideem in the next 3 years, I can get a team together domestically in Australia that is based off in the National Road Series.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick look here at the replay, and it does look like it was a solid result here coming through Glover as he led things out, but it was just not quite timed the way that I think he wanted it to be. As Sturny comes through, I thought he was going to nip it at the line there as he was the second lead-out man, but Shelton with, it wasn't even like a huge kick. I think he just kind of like had a solid hold on
Held the
there. I think,
power.
held the
Yeah.
power there. As I think Cycle House perhaps was eliminated for some reason from the results. There might have been something where he's either not registered or who knows what, but Tom Shelton looks like for the official there as he held through on the power there. So solid result there for Tom Shelton all around. All right, guys. Well, amazing job all around. Pat, we're going to be back next week. Of course, for race number 5. If you haven't jumped into this, to these races yet, make sure to do so because you can unlock the Lamb Chop kit, was put together by Black Sheep Cycling, actually. So make sure to be signing up for next week's race if you're just tuning in and wondering what's going on here. Also, later today, we do have on Zwift Live, not on Zwift Community Live, Zwift Community Live, a community space that does all of the community racing and event broadcasts, but Zwift Live will be broadcasting the men's race for the Classic Series. So make sure to check that out over on Zwift Live later today. Pat, Bees, solid result out there. Any last parting words before we go?
Bring it next week, Dees. I mean, I said it on the start line. I thought we could take the win tonight. And next week. And A-grade should be bolstered with a crew next week as well. So interesting to see how it all plays out on another course. But until then, keep your eyes on the Vuelta because it's heating up.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited about all of the racing that's going on everywhere, everybody. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit those follow buttons. We're live on Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, as well as Facebook. ZwiftCommunityLive.com as well. That's the easy place for check all things for Zwift Community Live. VODs always stored on our YouTube, which is linked on our website. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Great job to all the riders out there. Thanks to all the viewers, and as always, ride on.